Today, the heat index well into the low 100s, wind blowing straight out, and you do wonder how long the starting pitchers can go. This could be a big bullpen day for both clubs. Vance Worley, a rookie right-hander, will go for the Phillies. He's been filling in with Joe Blanton and Roy Oswalt on the disabled list, and Ryan Dempster will get the start for the Cubs. We'll hear from Ryan here in a couple of minutes. But let's get the highlights from Game 2 of this series after the Cubs beat Roy Halladay 6-1 on Monday night. Another hot one, not quite as hot, though, as the wind shifted on Tuesday night. First inning, Starlin Castro, after a leadoff double by Reed Johnson, with a home run to left, a two-run shot, his third of the year and first at Wrigley Field. And at the time, it looked like it would be all Matt Garza would need. He had no hit stop. In fact, he took a no-hitter into the fifth inning. The Phillies' first hit would be a double by Dominic Brown in that fifth inning. Garza gets into the eighth with that 2-0 lead, and he would start the inning, would give up a base hit. Sean Marshall would come in, and Chase Utley with his first hit in a while, a big one. A two-run double to tie it up at 2 apiece. Now the Phillies trying to get the lead infield in. Utley, after stealing third, tries to score. Nice block by Giovanni Soto. As they get Utley at the plate, that maintains the 2-2 tie. But the Phillies would get the lead in the next inning. Michael Martinez, switch hitter, batting right-handed, floats one down the right field line. All that happening with 2 outs. Francisco with a single, Rollins a base hit, and Martinez with a double. He would eventually be caught in a pickle between second and third. But that would set it up for left-hander Antonio Bastardo filling in as the Phillies closer. He's now 7 for 7 in save chances as he strikes out the side. Phillies win the game 4-2. Cliff Lee got a no decision. He went 6 innings, allowed 2 runs. Matt Garza 7 plus 4 hits and 1 run allowed. He has been a tough luck pitcher. 5 times this year Garza has left with the lead only to get a no decision. We mentioned Ryan Dempster's on the mound today. He's hoping for a win as the Cubs try to take this series. And then later tonight, a big charity event in downtown Chicago. Let's join Luke Stuckmeyer with more on that.
All right, thanks, Len. Ryan, this is going to be a big event for you. You look forward to it. Tell us about Casino Night coming up here.
Yeah, it's our second annual Dempster Family Foundation Casino Night, and we're really looking forward to another great turnout and another fun night for a great cause. Last year went so well, and we've had overwhelming support again this year, and looking forward to it. It's at the Palmer House, and they've been tremendous in helping us out, and we're going to have a lot of fun and raise money for a great cause. Now,
I saw some tuxedo shoes coming through the clubhouse. Who really dresses up well for this event?
A lot of the guys, you see Marlon. Marlon always is a snazzy dresser, so he looks good in his tux, and Rami and Sori. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We got a couple new guys this year. Get to introduce them to it. So I couldn't do this without the help of those guys. That really comes down to it. They've been a huge help and volunteering to give up their night off and come down to the event and help support the foundation and what we're trying to do.
When you look at where these teammates come in and help out, it's a good time too. They're not just there out of because they feel like they have to. They're enjoying themselves, and people can still get involved in this or not. Is it too late?
No, tickets are still available. I'm sure up to the last minute, pretty much. They're filling up fast, which is great. But no, that's the one thing I've always said about having my own charity events. I've been to enough of them that I always feel it's important for everybody coming to have a good time. Hey, you're there to raise money. You're there to raise awareness and bring attention to a cause. But at the same time, they're about having fun, and we definitely like to have fun at our events. And I think last year all the guys enjoyed themselves. They were actually looking forward to this year's one.
Your foundation is the greater cause, of course. 22Q is close to your family. Where are things with that situation now as far as 22Q and the research that's going towards it?
It's been great. We made a lot of strides through the foundation of helping some different people, whether it's through grants, families, helping them out, getting the treatment they seek. And 22Q is making some big strides in its own right. For the first time ever, there's actually going to be a section in the Journal of Pediatrics about 22Q, which is a huge thing. And now every pediatrician out there will kind of know about it, and hopefully through the continued research that they're doing, the numbers will lead to kind of screening for it everywhere. I know in certain states around the U.S. they're screening for it already, and this is something that at least the parents will have a game plan and some knowledge going ahead if they find out.
I'm expecting you to be a real tired host at this event. supposed to be like 110-degree heat index. How will you prepare for this game and get yourself ready to go out there and maybe the hottest day in a long time?
Yeah, it's going to be a hot one out there tomorrow. I've been drinking water pretty steadily, for about 4 days now. So I'm looking forward to going out there and building off my last start and going out there and giving us a chance to win the ball game and try and drink as much Gatorade and water as possible, stay cool whenever I can, and go out there and win a game, and then have a great night afterwards.
That last outing for you was 8 shutout innings. You were fantastic, and at one point you had, I think, 17 of the first 18 retired. When the weather's warm like that, how important is it to get going early in the game and not waste pitches?
Well, I think that's real key. The less pitches you can throw in an inning, the better off you are. But I'm not just going to go out there and throw it down the middle. I'm going to try and hit my spots and stay aggressive and pump the strike zone and hopefully get some good results out of that, some quick outs, and get some quick innings.
As a competitor, it has to be fun to face a team like the Phillies. They've been one of the best in the National League. Is that something that gets you going when you get your motor going when you go up to the mound and face one of the best in the league?
Yeah, absolutely. I think anytime you're facing better teams, you try to rise to that level of competition. And I'm always prepared and I'm always competitive every start. And just because it's one team or another doesn't usually make a difference. And but anytime you're facing a team like that, you have to be on top of your game and you have to be ready because they will be, and they're going to give you a tough at bat every time, and you really got to bear down and try and make your pitches, and hopefully they're good enough to get them out.
Good luck at the game and then at the Palmer House too.
Yeah, thank you very much.
It's going to be a big day, Len.
Luke, thanks. Yeah, should be a lot of fun tonight. Certainly it'll be more fun coming off a Cubs win. We will preview the starting pitchers. The umbrellas are out, but not because of the rain. We'll have more from Wrigley Field in a moment. Season series. Cubs have dropped 4 of the first 6 in this season series. Ryan Dempster over his last 7 starts with a sub-2 earned run average. You heard Luke and Ryan talk about his last outing. And how about Vance Worley? his numbers all around are excellent. 5-0 with a 2.15 ERA this year. 4 call-ups already. They've had some injuries near the bottom of their rotation, but he's come in and done a wonderful job. He has spent time pitching for Ryan Sandberg at AAA and the Phillies organization. He's got a good sinking fastball, and the Cubs will face Worley for the very first time. So it's Worley for the Phillies. It's Dempster for the Cubs. We'll have Cubs baseball on Comcast Sportsnet from Wrigley Field next. Baseball's best, setting up a rubber match. Ryan Dempster gets the call coming off his best start of the year. It's day baseball on a sweltering Chicago afternoon. The Cubs go for a series win. Next. On Wrigley Field today, stifling humidity, temperatures in the 90s, and a heat index already in the low 100s on the field. Phillies and Cubs today in the rubber game here on Comcast Sportsnet. Hi again, everyone. Along with Bob Brenly, I'm Len Casper. For the first time in our lives, everybody we saw today said, you guys are hot. Carlos Pena and Starlin Castro have been pretty hot, each with a home run in this series.
Yeah, for Pena, the 250th home run of his career, a monster bomb to straightaway center field in the first game of this series. He has been red hot against the Phillies. He's only made 1 out in 2 ball games. And for Starlin Castro, he got the scoring off to a great start in the bottom of the first yesterday with a 2-run line drive home run into the bleachers in left field.
You say it all the time, Bob. It's a combo, right? You can't just have one hot guy in the lineup, and that guy had been Ramirez, now spreading the wealth a little bit.
Well, ideally, you'd like everybody in your lineup to be hot, but that's not realistic. If you can get 2 or 3 guys swinging the bat extremely well, other guys getting on base either via a walk or an error or whatever, that's when you start to score some runs.
Got to take some pitches today, make Vance Worley work in this heat. Now the Lincoln Park Saxophone Quartet with our anthem.
To over 28,000 students from 180 public schools in 68 cities. This spring, Fidelity Investments and the Chicago Symphony Orchestra collaborated on the second annual Young Artist Competition for their chance to perform at a CSO concert. Fidelity is a proud partner of the Cubs, and together we congratulate the 2011 Young Artist Competition winners. Performing today's national anthem are winners of the 2011 Young Artist Competition, sponsored by Fidelity Investments. Please rise, kindly remove your caps, and join the Lincoln Park High School Saxophone Quartet as they honor America.
Coming up, it's the Phillies and the Cubs on a blistering day here at Wrigley Field. We'll have the lineups and all the action next.
Today's so hot, I might just have to go jump in the lake.
Comcast Sportsnet is brought to you in part by your Chicago area and Northwest Indiana Lexus dealer, who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. 75 years of being right here in Illinois means no one's closer to your wellness. Experience wellness everywhere. Subway. Every day at Subway, choose from many delicious regular footlong subs for just $5. Subway. Eat fresh. Honda. Visit your local Honda dealer today or go to shophonda.com and find great values on a new Honda. AT&T Uverse. Find out more of what's possible at att.com. AT&T. Rethink possible. And by Southwest Airlines' new Rapid Rewards. Unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates.
Welcome back to Wrigley Field. Hottest day here at the ballpark in 5 years. Last time had a game where the temperature was in the mid-90s or better. Diamondbacks and Cubs in 2006. Didn't stop the bleacher fans from getting out here early, but everybody trying to find some shade. And the Cubs again trying to help the fans here beat the heat with complimentary waters at all the gates as fans come in, cooling stations, automatic mister devices in the bleachers. And the Cubs have staff members walking throughout the ballpark with those portable misters to help everybody stay cool. Extra medical personnel on hand. And be safe on this very hot day here in Chicago.
Now, this is the kind of afternoon that especially affects the fans that are afflicted with ADD. All day drinking. Very important that you hydrate in the proper way out here today.
And as we said, extra medical personnel on hand. And if you have elderly friends or relatives, make sure you check on them today. And make sure their air conditioning is working. It's going to be very, very dangerous this time of the year. Let's check in on Charlie Manuel's Phillies Southwest starting lineup. Jimmy Rollins will start it. Michael Martinez had the game-winning hit in the ninth last night. Utley with big numbers against Ryan Dempster. Ryan Howard's at first. He's had a very quiet series, eerily so, in fact. Victorino just came off the DL last night. Raul Ibanez is hot. Brown's in right. Brian Schneider catches for the first time in the series, and Vance Worley does the pitching.
And in one of the most all-time appropriate sponsorships ever, Cubs defense brought to you by Degree. Soriano in left, Bird in center, Fukudome over in right field. It'll be Ramirez, Castro, Barney, and Pena third to first across the infield. Giovanni Soto will be laboring behind the plate today under these conditions, and he'll be receiving pitches from our Lexus Pursuing Perfection starting pitcher, right-hander Ryan Dempster.
And the umpires, led by Mike DeMuro today, working home plate. New York State native who now lives in Colorado. He's a licensed commercial pilot. Cubs winning 6-1 Monday night. Phillies with 4 runs over the final 2 innings to take a 4-2 decision last night. And we are underway. Ball 1 from Ryan Dempster to Jimmy Rollins. Ryan's 34 years old, 6'2", 215 pounds, from Gibsons, British Columbia, Canada. As you heard him tell Luke Stuckmeyer in the pregame, he's been drinking extra water for the past 4 days since his last start. He knew this was potentially going to be the hottest day of the year, and it is 97 degrees with a southwest wind at 12 miles an hour.
Dempster coming off arguably his best outing of the year against the Florida Marlins. A 2-1 victory. Had very little margin for error, but he was darn near perfect in that game. 8 strong innings, gave up only 4 hits to the Marlins, did not allow a run, struck out 9, did not walk a batter.
Quick innings, 1 pitch outs will be at a premium today for both pitchers.
We've had some fun with the idea of time of possession in baseball, and today is the kind of day you want your team in that dugout as often as possible and as quickly as possible. Not a whole lot of relief here at Wrigley Field in the dugout itself, but the players can go back up the tunnel a short distance to the clubhouse where there is some air conditioning. Put on some dry shirts and try to keep moving forward.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. It is a short distance on the home side, a little longer on the visiting side.
Elevated fastball right up the ladder. Talk about going up the ladder from our Galaxy Pitch Tracks, the official remodeler of the Chicago Cubs. You saw a textbook job by Ryan Dempster that time of getting ahead and then scooting it up a little bit with each successive pitch.
Martinez with the game-winning hit. How about that? He walked into that pitch, and it's dropped. And Martinez is on. Sun is right above the ballpark right now, and Starlin Castro missed it, and it's going to be a gift for Martinez, an infield hit. Starlin has his sunglasses on. He just didn't see it.
Just based on the shadows of the infielders here at Wrigley Field, a much tougher play for Starlin Castro. No easier for Darwin Barney, but Barney had a little better angle on the sun that time. Tries to stay with it as best he can, but once that ball gets into the sun, it's very, very hard to get it out of the sun and find it and make the play.
That brings up Chase Utley with 1 on and 1 out. And ball 1. Utley 7 for 11 with a home run against Ryan Dempster. That, by the way, was a hit, not an error, as I mentioned. Going into today, the Cubs have an 8-game error streak for the first time in 19 years. And the last time they committed an error in 9 straight games, you've got to go back to 1987. It's a streak they would like to stop today.
And there have been a couple of other misplays that went either as infield hits or balls that dropped in the outfield. Perhaps should have had a play on them that did not go down as official errors.
Fastball missed the outside corner. The Utley game tying hit last night, a 2-run double, snapped an 0 for 15. Martinez was leaning just a little bit.
This historically has been a good hit and run count. Charlie Manuel's not the kind of manager that likes to push a lot of buttons. He prefers to let his hitters go up there and pick a pitch to swing at and try to hit it out of the ballpark.
There goes Martinez, and it is a hit and run as Utley fouls it off to the left.
And oh, by the way, as you can imagine, on a hot, sticky day here at Wrigley Field, that wind is howling out at times straight out to center field, at other times toward right center field. Definitely have to keep the ball down today.
It's one way to stay cool. Martinez goes again. That pitch is high. The throw to second is late. Castro covering. When the Phillies run, they're normally successful.
Well, his second stolen base of the season for Michael Martinez. Didn't get a great jump. You saw him take a quick peek back to home plate as that pitch was taken, but still able to get in underneath the tag of Starlin Castro at second base.
They have led the majors 4 straight years in stolen base percentage. Deep to right and foul out into Sheffield. Phillies again over 85%. They're 65 for 76 in stolen base chances, leading the majors. Did it under Davey Lopes previously. Now Sam Perlazzo in charge of the Phillies running game. He's also the first base coach. Still 3-2 on Utley. while the stolen base is top of mind, the St. Louis Cardinals going into action today have gone 32 consecutive games without a steal. That's the longest such drought in the majors since 1977. Ball 4, Utley is on. Here comes Ryan Howard.
Righty Herzog just fell out of his lazy boy when he heard that.
They are 0 for 9 over their last 32 games. Here's Ryan Howard, 0 for 8. As I said, an eerily quiet start to this series. Ball 1.
Howard has grounded into 9 double plays this season. He's very much a fly ball hitter, but occasionally he'll roll over and hit that top spin grounder. But like most teams in the National Leagues, the Cubs play that exaggerated shift. Very awkward to try to turn a double play with this particular alignment.
Swing and a miss. For Roy Halladay Monday night, he gave up a couple of 2-out hits, a home run, and then a single in the first inning. The third is when he really labored. But I think more than anything for Halladay, it was not being able to catch his breath when his team was at the plate, as Rodrigo Lopez was very efficient and worked quickly. So that's kind of the bad combination on a day like this. If you're the starter, you're out there for a long time, and then your team goes 1, 2, 3 quickly. The quote was he got to the point where he felt like they were going to wheel him out of the ballpark, as he was taken out in the 5th inning.
Well, we had talked earlier in the ball game about Roy Halladay and his poise and his demeanor, his facial expressions on the mound. You can never tell if he's pitching well or pitching poorly, if he's ahead or behind, but you could tell he was laboring. His body language bent over at the knees. He would squat down behind the mound, just trying to find some air anywhere.
Another full count, 3-2 to Howard.
From our Galaxy pitch tracks, a little slider on the inside corner. Giovanni Soto wanted it. Ryan Dempster wanted it. Might have just nipped that inside corner, but they do not get the call.
Back-to-back full counts. Dempster already over 20 pitches this inning. Victorino on deck. Runners go on the 3-2, and a bouncer that's going to sneak through the hole, vacated by Starlin Castro, and the Phillies get on the board. A 99 hopper through the left side of the infield, and it's 1-0. First hit of the series for Ryan Howard. League leading 74th RBI.
It wasn't much, but it'll work for the Phillies. A little cue shot right off the end of the bat with the runners in motion. Castro was shading way up the middle in that exaggerated pull shift, and as you called it, a 99 hopper just dribbles through that left side to put the Phillies on the board.
Also key that Utley was able to advance 2 bases, so he's at third with only 1 out. Now Shane Victorino loves the daytime, hitting .388, leading the league under the sun. Victorino activated before last night's game off the disabled list. He had a sprained right thumb. He went 0 for 4.
Well, this is the kind of day, Len. Obviously, it's a physical struggle, especially for the pitcher, the catcher, the guys who are moving around on every pitch. But even more so, a mental struggle. I mean, you can talk yourself into some really bad things on a day like this if all you can focus on is how miserable you feel out there on the field.
Tap to Ramirez, and his only play is going to be first. Victorino gets an RBI as he grounds out, knocking in Chase Utley, and it's 2-0.
Watch Utley, as soon as contact is made at home plate, he is off like a shot toward home plate. That little chopper to the left side. It took too long to get to Aramis Ramirez to even think about throwing home. The only play was to get the easy out at first.
So Howard's at second, 2 runs in, and the batter, Raul Ibanez. Both teams are off tomorrow, and I think they both will tell you that they could use it after this very hot series, and it's going to be hot again this weekend in both cities. Phillies head home to take on the Padres. Cubs will host the Astros.
This continues a trend here today, Len. The Cubs have given up now 79 first inning runs this season, the most of any team in baseball.
High pop fly out toward Fukudome. And a long top of the first, 27 pitches for Ryan Dempster as he gives up a couple. And the Cubs are coming up. Castro hit a first inning 2-run homer last night, and they would not score again. Fukudome, Castro, Ramirez at the top, Pena, Bird, the former Philly, and Soto in the middle. Soriano struggling to start this second half. Darwin Barney back in there after the night off last night. Ryan Dempster, the pitcher.
Take a look at how the best defensive team in the National League lines them up today. Raul Ibanez, Shane Victorino, and Dominic Brown across the outfield. It'll be Martinez, Rollins, Utley, and Howard third to first across the infield. Backup catcher Brian Schneider getting the nod today, and he'll be receiving pitches from right-hander Vance Worley. Well, this guy has been on some kind of a roll, Len. His last 5 starts at the major league level, a total of 30 1/3 innings pitched, only 17 hits and 3 earned runs.
The first pitch, strike on Kosuke. Worley is a Sacramento, California native, 6'2", 230. A 23-year-old rookie. Fastball is up, 1-1. He's put together, as we said, 230 pounds.
There was a couple of different fastballs, a 4-seamer and a tailing 2-seamer. Throw a slider. He has a curveball, doesn't use it very often. Also throws a straight changeup, but basically a fastball slider pitcher.
3rd round pick. in 2008 out of Long Beach State. One thing he hasn't done is really been stretched out. His numbers are excellent, but by and large he has not been a 7 or 8 inning guy. Facing the Cubs and pitching at Wrigley Field for the first time in his career. Called strike 3.
A number of borderline pitches in that top of the first inning for Ryan Dempster didn't go his way. He wanted to talk it over with home plate umpire Mike DeMuro. Let's find out where those pitches were missing. I don't think Ryan thinks they were missed at all.
Now Castro. His 3rd home run of the year last night off Cliff Lee. I know what matchup you're ready for. Yep. Hopefully it's in this first inning, but the Cubs number 5 hitter Marlon Byrd, the Whirly Bird matchup.
Obviously the first look the Cubs have had at Vance Worley, other than some video work in the clubhouse and checking the advance report. Historically, Cubs teams have had issues facing pitchers they've never seen before. I think every team struggles a little bit when you're facing a pitcher you've never seen before, but because of the aggressiveness of just about every hitter in the Cubs lineup, you usually don't see enough pitches to develop a very good, quick in-game scouting report.
Two 2-1 on the way. Sinker sank too much. 3-1. It's a 1-out walk to Castro.
It's good to see. Only the 18th walk this season for Starlin Castro in over 400 at bats.
That note we just showed you really just speaks to the overall excellence on the Phillies pitching staff. A foul strike to Ramirez. Well, were you awake or did you sleep through the 3:30 thunderstorm last night?
I heard it.
Early this morning.
Rattling windows, the rain banging off the patio. Really cooled things off. There's a fan that came prepared. Got the bungee cords and the umbrella, sitting in the back row.
Popped up as Schneider looks for some room, and he had room, but he just couldn't make the catch. It's a little tricky there. You've got not only the bricks, but the plexiglass, which provides a little extra protection for the fans in the front row, and it could be a little dangerous if you reach too far over.
Brian Schneider, a veteran guy, tracking that ball all the way back to the bricks. It was a tough play, nothing easy about it, but I'm sure he'll tell you he should have caught that ball. It was in the air for a long time.
So new life for Ramirez, and the pitch caught by Rollins. Throw back to first is late. So Ramirez lines out. Ball wasn't hit terribly hard. Rollins with some good ups.
That's the kind of soft line drive that occasionally will fool a defender. They'll jump too soon, but Jimmy Rollins timed his leap perfectly. Which is right at the top of his jump. He's already looking at Starlin Castro at first base to see if he has an opportunity to throw behind him for the double play, but Castro read it well, was able to get back to the bag safely.
Here's Pena with 2 outs. Castro still at first. Big series for Carlos. 5 for 6, 2 walks, a double, a homer, and 2 RBIs. A 3/4 swing, strike 1.
And the really good news, a couple of base hits against a tough lefty last night, Cliff Lee. Carlos has struggled against left-handed pitching most of the year, but he's got 3 hits in his last 8 bats against lefties, including those 2 against Cliff Lee.
Went that time too. Well, you opened a big can of worms in the 9th inning last night when I asked you what you'd be wearing today. You mentioned the tank top and Speedo, and everybody you ran into today wondered where it was. Don't tell me you are wearing it.
It's here.
Oh gosh. The rally Speedo.
Whatever it takes.
Called strike 3, and the inning is over. 1 out walk, no runs. 2-0 Phils after 1.
Light freeze cam. Remember back on February 2nd, Lakeshore Drive was closed. They had to forklift cars off of the street, carrying them to a holding area during the snowpocalypse that happened back in February.
20 inches of snow in that storm.
I'd like to roll in it right now, though. Freeze cam brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
And if you just missed it, we will be running that every inning.
Yeah. Mind over matter.
Brown, Schneider, Worley. Ball 1 to Dominic Brown. Good night last night as he picked up the first hit for the Phillies off Matt Garza with a double in the 5th. He walked, doubled, and singled before being removed for a pinch hitter. Garza was outstanding. That's on the field Right around game time, 120.
Dominic Brown, a good-looking young player, plays a solid defensive right field. The swing can get a little long. We talked about it in the ball game against Matt Garza last night. He's much more susceptible to fastballs up above the waist, especially inside and up. Balls that are down and out over the plate where he can extend his arms, he can do some damage.
Ryan normally a fast worker, but he's really got to pace himself today. I think even Mark Burley would slow down on a day like this.
This is the kind of day where it really helps to be in sync with your catcher, so you don't waste a lot of time out there shaking to get to the pitch you want to throw. Keep the rhythm of the game at a fairly quick pace. Keep your defense on their toes, and like we mentioned earlier, try to get your team back in that dugout as quickly as possible.
Still 1-2. Dempster having a tough time putting away Dominic Brown. Another foul ball. 7 consecutive fouls off the bat of Brown. Three rookies in their lineup today: Brown, Martinez, and the starting pitcher Vance Worley. Even for a veteran-laden team like the Phillies, you always have to try to blend in some young players.
It's already been a 10-pitch at bat for Dominic Brown.
2-2.
Look on pitch tracks, everything down below the waist until this last pitch, but it's so far off the plate that Brown immediately recognizes it's not going to be a strike. He's able to lay off to run the count to 2-2. There he chases a high one. Not exactly what or where Dempster wanted to throw that slider, the top outside quadrant of the strike zone, but you can see how slow that bat is by Dominic Brown when you elevate pitches, even off speed pitches.
Here's the catcher, Brian Schneider. He's been battling Ryan Dempster for a long time. When Ryan was a Florida Marlin and Schneider was a member of the Expos. Dempster today making his 345th career appearance with the Cubs. He is one appearance short of tying Three-Finger Brown for 10th on the Cubs all-time games pitched list. 2-2. Worley is on deck, but he's not in the on deck circle. Now, have you seen him yet?
No, I'm getting he's obviously in the shade somewhere.
Yeah, there he is.
There he is.
He'll get out there until he has to.
Technically, there is supposed to be a hitter in the on-deck circle. Many times in this particular situation, you'll see the leadoff hitter grab his bat and helmet and stand in that on-deck circle just so the pitcher doesn't have to stand out in the heat.
Follow all of today's stats and info in real time with Cubs in-game live only at csnchicago.com. And it's brought to you by Honda. This has been an early inning grind for Ryan Dempster. He has not gotten quick outs. Back-to-back strikeouts to start this inning. 3 on the day.
Pitcher number 49, Vance Worley.
And now Worley is 2 out of 17 with 1 RBI. Drills that ball to deep right. He's going to get his first career extra base hit. A standing double. Hit that ball hard.
Kosuke playing him very shallow in right field, and Worley catches that ball right off the barrel. A 90-mile-an-hour fastball up in the zone. He squared it up pretty good. Bangs it off the ivy. Marlon Byrd tries to hustle it back in to get him at second, but Worley able to chug in with his first extra base hit of the season. Hopefully that'll take a little bit of something out of the Phillies starter, running the bases a little bit here.
Strike 1 on Rollins.
I've had mixed feelings about my pitcher getting a 2-out base hit with nobody on, especially under these conditions and having to run the bases. You're not even sure if he can score on a base hit to the outfield anyway. It's going to be a risky send by third base coach Juan Samuel. I mean, you always like to see your team get hits and get runners on base and make things happen, but sometimes you'd prefer your pitcher just to make that third out of the inning and get back out on the mound.
In the dirt, and Worley not even thinking about third. Just about every other guy in their lineup would have been at third base. Rollins is from Oakland, second-round pick back in 1996. Says when he was 3, he knew he was born to play baseball. His dad used to throw tennis balls in the air and he'd catch them. One day threw a ball and it hit Jimmy in the eye and didn't flinch at all. He said, throw it again.
It might have been the last one that he missed.
You might be right.
Only 5 errors this season at the shortstop position for the Phillies.
Right field, fair. And Worley will trot home to make it 3-0. Back-to-back 2-out doubles for the Phillies here in the second.
Rollins thought that ball was going to hook foul down into the right field corner. But as we know, very little foul territory down in that area. Hits about 6 inches into fair territory. And Vance Worley, after a double, able to chug around third base and score with relative ease.
Going to head back down and maybe try to get a little AC as Martinez rolls it into center, and it's 4-0. Michael Martinez is 2 for 2.
Somebody's getting him out, but Michael Martinez has had a real good series here against the Cubs. He's been a force at the plate, on the bases, and defensively.
And filling in at third for Placido Polanco, who might be off the DL soon. And it brings up Utley. 2 in the first, 2 in the second for the Phillies. And Utley just took that one all the way because Martinez took about 3 steps towards second before Dempster fired to the plate. I thought he was just going to keep going, but he put on the brakes and he got distracted. Chase Utley.
Yeah, apparently Utley felt he was going to keep going too. Out of his peripheral vision, he must have seen Martinez break and just stood there to take the pitch and give him an opportunity to steal. Way to get your teammates upset with you, those fake steals, and you end up in a hole against an opposing pitcher because you're taking pitches allowing him to steal the base.
One and one. Fifth pitch already for Ryan Dempster. The conditions and the way it's gone early, this has short start written all over it unless he really gets it together. Martinez takes off. The pitch is a strike and the throw is late. Martinez is 2 for 2 today in the stolen base department. And a 2-2 count on Chase Utley.
Once again, not a great jump that time. Good throw by Giovanni Soto. Martinez just outruns it to second base, in on his belly, into scoring position now for Chase Utley.
Right center and deep for Chase Utley. Bird will chase it down. Utley will stop at second with a double. It's 5-0. That's 4 consecutive 2-out hits. And Mark Riggins will come out.
Utley generates a lot of power with a very short, compact swing. Really finishes well. A lot of risks. Split the gap out there in right center for an RBI double that time.
He's thrown a ton of strikes this inning, but 4 of them have resulted in hits. And Ramon Ortiz is up.
About 8 or 9 of them were fouled off during the course of the Dominic Brown at bat to start this inning, even though it ended in a strikeout followed by another strikeout. Those lengthy at bats to start this inning look like they've taken their toll on Ryan Dempster.
And I think we have to be very careful about commenting on a guy's conditioning in terms of how he's affected by the heat today. Roy Halladay and Ryan Dempster, you'd put those two guys right at the top in terms of guys who stay in great physical shape.
They work extremely hard between starts so they're able to work deep into a ball game and throw 120, 130 pitches if necessary. It takes somebody like Roy Halladay down. You know it's hot.
Yeah. And Rodrigo Lopez was better the other night, but I think the reason he lasted a lot longer is because he pitched better. Again, was a lot more efficient, got off the field a lot more quickly. 2-1 to Howard. I don't care how great your fitness is. Ryan Dempster's been out there now for a good 20 minutes. And he's not just standing around. He's trying to make a quality pitch on every offering. 3-1.
And when Ryan Howard is swinging the bat well, and he will before this season's over, and he has leading up to this series, but when he's swinging the bat well, you wouldn't even think about pitching to him in this situation. You take your chances with Shane Victorino, but because he has struggled a little bit in this series, hasn't been the typical Ryan Howard you're used to seeing. The Cubs are going to go right after him here with 2 outs and a base open.
Atlanta got within 2.5 with a win Monday and Phillies loss here, but Phillies won. Atlanta lost last night, so back to a 3.5 game advantage in the East. That was a rough inning for Dempster. He struck out 3 but gave up 4 straight 2-out hits. It's 5-0 Phillies. Here at Wrigley Field, game time is 1:20, but be sure to arrive early as the first 10,000 adults 21 and older will receive a Cubs tumbler, compliments of Budweiser. For more info and to purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com. uphill battle here. It's still early, but the Cubs are down 5 as they bat here in the second. And here is that much anticipated Worley Bird matchup.
This is the turning point of the ball game right here. I'd like to see some of the Cubs hitters get a little better look at Vance Worley. As I mentioned earlier, this is a guy they've never seen before, and we've seen a lot of first pitch hacking already in the first inning of the ball game. And you can only garner so much from advance reports and video study. You actually have to get in that batter's box and see the release point, see the arm angle, get some rhythm with his wind up so you feel like you're in a good timing position in that batter's box. See some pitches, make him work.
Called strike on the inside corner, and it's 1-1. The Worley Birds.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say I remember that particular series. Do you?
Oh, no.
Late 50s?
What are those off maple trees, those little seedlings that fall off and spin to the ground? We used to call those Whirly Birds growing up.
Popped into left. Ibanez is standing by, makes the catch for the out. Mentioned Worley was a third-round pick out of Long Beach State in 2008, but the Phillies had their eye on him previously. In 2005, out of high school, they took him in the 20th round out of McClatchy High. That's in Sacramento, and it's produced big leaguers such as Nick Johnson, Larry Boa, Deion James. But Worley decided to go to college instead and eventually signed with the Phillies in 2008. The 0-1 to Soto. Slider strike. Missed that time. 1-2. Oh, that hit him on the hand. Soto will head down to first.
Back-to-back sliders on the outside corner. Looked like that one caught Gio on the back of the left knuckles right there. Fortunately, somewhat of a glancing blow. Doesn't make it feel any better, but hopefully limited the damage.
Struggling Alfonso Soriano, just 1 out of 18 to start the second half. Right back to the pitcher. Worley made the catch. They double off. Soto at first. That ball was hit very hard by Soriano right into the mid of the pitcher, and it turns into an easy double play.
But you don't have to remember it to love it. Prices and participation may vary. For a limited time only, a la carte only. Speaking of a daily double, self-defense out there by Lance Worley. A rocket hit right back at his face. He's able to get the glove up in time to snare that line drive and double Giovanni Soto off first base. Just no time to react on that one.
The one and only Sir Paul McCartney's coming to the friendly confines of Wrigley Field Sunday, July 31st and Monday, August 1st. Treat your best customers and guests to the ultimate VIP experience in a private suite at the friendly confines for these historic shows. Mezzanine suites are limited and available now. Call 773-404-4200 for more details and to book your suite today. Dempster against Victorino as we start the third. 5-0 Philadelphia. One ball, one strike. Great to see the Birdwell family from Urbandale, Iowa here at the ballpark. Gary and Katie, along with daughters Emma and Josie. Also Rick Borman and Jack Burke are here at the ballpark. Huge Cub fans. And a special happy birthday wish goes out to 93-year-old Cub fan Gene Healy. From your son Pete.
Excuse me. You could tell Ryan Dempster was paying attention to that Matt Garza start last night. One of the most effective pitches for Garza last night was a slider down and into these left-handed Philly hitters. Dempster has gone to that pitch repeatedly. Got some swings and misses. A couple of strikeouts with that pitch.
Missed outside, ball 4 and a leadoff walk.
About his fair play today.
Yeah.
Return the favor.
Dorino faked towards second and put on the brakes. Zabanez looked at ball 1.
Occasionally with a left-handed pull hitter at the plate, you'll want that runner to stay there at first base to give Raul Ibanez that hole on the right side of the infield. But judging from the first couple of pitches of this sequence here, it looks like Victorino wants to run.
And with that in mind, Dempster throws over. Other early action today, the Reds lead the Pirates 3-1 in the bottom of the ninth in Pittsburgh. Start for Johnny Cueto today. Fly to right, Fukudome puts the clamps on it, 1 away. Pirates starting the day a half game up on the Milwaukee Brewers in the Central. Houston leads Washington 2-0 in the top of the 5th. Jovan Hernandez against Brett Myers in that one. Brett Myers is 2-0 against the Cubs this year. He's 1-10 against everybody else. It's a major league debut today. Our second baseman, Jose Altuve. He's on the Astros roster after Jeff Keppinger was traded to the Giants. So Altuve playing second base, 5'7", 168 pounds, out of Venezuela. And we'll get a look at him this weekend here at Wrigley. I think he was leading all of the minors in batting average, just under 400.
Jeff Keppinger deal to the Giants is the first of many we will see from the Houston Astros. 33 games under 500 going into play today.
Altuve was hitting .389 combined in the minors.
Victorino does not run over there at first base. He's forced Ryan Dempster to throw several pickoff attempts over there just to try to keep him close, keep the double play in order.
Victorino takes off. This time they get him. So Martinez 2 for 2 today, but Soto nails Shane Victorino.
Those pickoff attempts at first base combined with a really good pitch to handle that time by Giovanni Soto results in a caught stealing at second base. Looked like the tag may have been a little high. Cubs might have gotten the benefit of a call down there at second base on that one.
It is a final. The Reds over the Pirates 3-1. How about that series? As the Pirates took 2 of 3. The final scores 2-0, 1-0, and 3-1. That gives the Brewers a chance to grab first place again if they can beat the Diamondbacks tonight, as Brown takes the walk. Second of the inning, third of the day for Dempster. The Cubs Felco upcoming schedule. This season-long 10-gamer continues on Friday here on Comcast Sportsnet. Astros and Cubs. And then the next road trip, the Cubs will play the top 3 teams in the Central Division: Milwaukee, St. Louis, and Pittsburgh. Brian Schneider to deep right center. Going to split the gap. Brown's going to come all the way around from first and score on a double by the Phillies catcher. It's 6-0.
Elusive third out. Fastball middle of the plate up a little bit to Brian Schneider. He too finds that gap in right center field. You can see long-legged Dominic Brown Dominic Brown streaking past there. Long striding around second, third, and eventually ends up on the plate.
Couple of American League games are in the late innings. Boston shutting out Baltimore 4-0 in the 8th. 2 homers by Jacoby Ellsbury. 15 on the year for the Red Sox leadoff man. Cleveland and Minnesota are tied 4-4 in the top of the 8th up at Target Field. Indians and Tigers, the same exact record atop the AL Central, 51-45. Swing and a miss on a slider to end the inning. But another 2-out run. A double by Brian Schneider makes it 6-0 Philadelphia. Third inning. Got Hall of Fame weekend coming up in Cooperstown, and we will be featuring the 3 main honorees starting today. Roberto Alomar. We'll talk about Bert Blyleven and Pat Gillick this weekend as well. Roberto Alomar got 90% of the vote this past winter. 12-time All-Star, 10 Gold Gloves, and he played the 3rd most games all time at second base. Over 2,300 in his career.
Well, he was one of those guys that could change a game in any fashion. He could make a great defensive play to win a game for you. He could steal a base, score from first on an extra base hit. He could hit home runs, hit for a high average. When he made up his mind that he was going to take charge of a ball game, there was nothing you could do to stop him.
First at bat for Darwin Barney, and Ryan Dempster will not get an at bat. Tony Campana is in the on deck circle. Ball 1 to Barney. Off the plate inside, 2-0. It was a rough one for Dempster today. 3 innings, 7 hits, 6 runs. That's a strike. Lifted foul down the right field line, out of play. Dodgers and Giants coming up a little later this afternoon. How do you like Clayton Kershaw against Tim Lincecum?
13-12.
Combined for 18 wins, and each guy with an ERA below 3. Out into right center. Brown will get there. One away.
Need somebody to break the seal here. Just need to get that first hit, get a runner on base, make some things happen. Starlin Castro did draw a walk back in that first inning after 1 out, and Giovanni Soto was hit by a pitch before the double play liner off the bat of Soriano, but the Cubs still searching for that first knock.
Former Cubs hitting coach Jeff Pentland has been fired as a Dodger hitting coach, and a former Cub takes over. Dave Hansen. Dodgers ranked near the bottom in the majors in runs. What's the cliche? You can't fire all the players. Fly ball out into left center. This time it'll be Ibanez to get the pinch hitter Campana.
It must be a Southern California thing, because San Diego is dead last in the National League in runs scored. LA next to the last.
All Phillies early on. As Bob mentioned, the Cubs without a hit so far against Vance Worley. Second time through the order now. As Kosuke takes an inside corner fastball for a strike. It'll be Ramon Ortiz in the fourth in relief of Ryan Dempster.
Now looking at the splits for Vance Worley this year, first plate appearance in a game, opponents are hitting .253 against him. The second plate appearance, it goes down to 176, and then only .233 for the third time through the order.
Kosuke pops up. Rollins will be called off by Ibanez. So Worley working with a 6-0 lead as the Cubs have to dip into their bullpen in the fourth.
10-piece family feast, just $20.
Here's Ramon Ortiz. A couple of starts, now working out of the bullpen. This is his second relief appearance.
You see those split numbers at the bottom. Opponents hitting 340s, lefties at 500, righties at 214, and this Phillies lineup loaded with left-handed hitters.
Pitching for the first time in 4 days against the Marlins 4 days ago, an inning and a third, 3 hits, 3 runs. Would have been on Saturday. He was working in relief of Carlos Zambrano that day. In and out of the glove of Pena. And he throws it away, and that one actually hit the top step of the dugout where the opening is and skipped out of play. Well, that's an error. Carlos Pena. And again, the Cubs now have extended their error streak to 9 consecutive games.
And maybe 2 errors on that play. Number 1 for dropping it initially. That's the first error. And then I would assume that throwing the ball over into the dugout to allow Rollins to advance to second base would be the second error.
And it is. Swing and a miss by Martinez on a changeup. Got our trivia question coming up here, partner, and I think you might get this one.
Uh-oh.
Because you were there. We're going to rely on your long-term memory.
Yeah. Remember what I had for breakfast this morning. Well, I look forward to the challenge.
Yes. That hurt. Side of the right leg. Martinez will stay in with a 1-2 count. Back to the pitchers. Rollins headed back to second. And 1 away in the 4th. Let's get to our AT&T trivia question. This is a good one. How many ex-Phillies were in the Cubs 1984 opening day starting lineup? That would have been April 3rd, 1984 at Candlestick Park in front of 52,700. And Bob Brenly, you were in the Giants starting lineup. Your battery mate was Mark Davis. You went 1 for 3. The Cubs won the game 5-3. But I've got to figure Bobby Dernier,
Sandberg,
Ryan Sandberg. How about
Zonk?
Keith Moreland? The Sarge splits the gap for Utley. Rollins will come around to score. Utley has his second consecutive RBI double, 7-0. The one question I had, did Dick Ruthven start that game? Well, he would have been on the Cubs staff if he started that game. That's another ex-Philly.
Ex-Philly. And if I'm not mistaken, Larry Bowe was still playing shortstop at that time for the Cubs. So another one.
It's almost the whole lineup.
Now, that's something we didn't go over in the advanced scouting report.
Well, you were there,
teams.
so
yeah.
I'm relying on your memory.
Boy, we're in trouble.
I want to see what the attendance was the day after.
Probably 5,200.
Let's see. Thursday, April 5th, 8,460. Well, that's a series average of about 30,000.
Whole average thing doesn't always work out well. You could stand with one foot in a bucket of boiling water and the other one in a bucket of ice water, and according to the averages, you should be just fine.
Right. That goes 3-1 to get Howard. 2 outs in the inning. When I think of April of 1984, I think of the Detroit Tigers. And carried into May, they started 35-5 that year.
Ooh, man. About giving yourself some breathing room early in the season.
They went 18-2 in April, including 9-0 to start the year. Let's see, was that the year Jack Morris threw the no-hitter on the south side? Yeah, it would have been April 7th, 1984. He beat Floyd Bannister 4-0 in a no-hitter at Comiskey. Fukudome makes a catch, and the inning is over, but the Phillies have scored in every inning. An unearned tally here in the fourth. It's 7-0. The ex-Phillies were in the Cubs 1984 opening day lineup.
6.
Nicely done. Ron Say, Jody Davis, Leon Durham, the only 3 in that lineup who hadn't previously played for the Phillies. And Dick Ruthven was the opening day starter and the winner. Lee Smith got the save.
I've talked many times about that '84 Cubs team, certainly playing against them. Some of the best situational hitters I ever played against. I mean, a guy like Keith Moreland, who had tremendous power, could drive the ball out of the ballpark, but if you put him up at the plate with a runner at first base, he'd look for a pitch on the outer third of the plate and shoot it through that hole on the right side of the field. Seemed like you were first and third an awful lot against that '84 Cubs team.
Oh, 1 on the way to Starlin Castro. It's a strike, 0-2. Cubs with no hits through 3, 2 base runners, a walk, and a hit batter against a guy making his Wrigley debut.
Another thing I remember about that '84 Cubs team, with Larry Bowa at short at the tail end of his career and Ron Cey at third at the tail end of his career, you could lose a guy like Tony Campana in the infield grass. They let that infield grass get really deep to slow down ground balls and give that left side of an infield a chance to make plays. You'd only be able to see the top of Tony Campana's hat with that infield grass back in '84.
Floated out in the shallow right. Utley got a nice jump on it and makes a catch. The Menards grounds crew on this hot day taking care of the infield dirt. Kind of interesting. It doesn't happen a lot, but the Giants and A's had opening day on the same day back in 1984. Oakland beat the Brewers across the bay 6-5. At times, you know, the Cubs and White Sox are not in town at the same time. Same goes for the teams in LA and the Bay Area, New York. So we got about 100,000 people watching baseball that day in the Bay Area. Called strike 3 to get Aramis. 3 strikeouts for Worley. They've all been looking.
Not only does Worley have good stuff, he's got a good idea of how to use it. He's used the 4-seam fastball to jump ahead in the count. He elevates it at the top of the strike zone. He's throwing some really good crisp sliders off of that outside corner, and that time a little comeback sinker right on that outside corner at the knees for strike 3.
Pena with 2 outs. Foul tip, strike 1. Oh, 2. John Danks activated from the White Sox DL, coming back from an oblique injury, and he'll start tonight against the Royals for the White Sox.
And then you made reference to that '84 Tigers team a moment ago. We're going to go back just a little bit further in Tiger history for this day in baseball history. Back in 1976, Mark the Bird Fidrich, it was his 13th start of the season, his 12th complete game, including 3 11-inning complete games.
He was the rage back then.
Man, was he ever.
19-game winner, 24 complete games in 1976. And he would win just 10 more games the rest of his career. Well, he died tragically a couple of years ago. I think he was working on his car or truck.
Yeah.
He was underneath the vehicle and it fell on him.
He gave the game a much needed shot of personality when the game was pretty much devoid of personality. Sure, he ruffled a few feathers with his antics out there on the mound, but boy, it was refreshing to see a young kid go out there and hook up against the best in baseball, and more often than not he came out on top.
When's the next time you're going to see a 21-year-old throw 250 innings?
Never.
I think you're right. Pena couldn't hold up. That's strike 3. Cubs go down 1-2-3 for the second straight inning. They trail the Phillies in the rubber game 7-zip.
If you're the 500 texter, you can win 5 $5 footlong subs from Subway.
Friday afternoon hang with Comcast Sportsnet at the Coors Light Northside Baseball Viewing Party. Come by Tommy's on Waukegan and Morton Grove to win prizes. Enjoy Coors Light and watch the Northsiders take on Houston. Be there this Friday at Tommy's on Waukegan in Morton Grove.
A lot of groups here at the ballpark today, including a group of 35 from Dixon, Illinois, the First United Methodist Church, trying to stay cool.
Two 2-0 to Ibanez. Phillies have scored in every inning. 2 in the first, 3 in the second, 1 in the third, and an unearned run in the fourth. Phillies coming in have won 7 consecutive series. This would be 8. For the 4-time defending National League East champs. Rainbow into center. Marlon Byrd backpedaling now just a bit. Ibanez is 0 for 3. Well, as you handicap it right now, there is no question the Phillies on paper are the team to beat in the National League. But assuming for the moment they do get to the postseason, either by winning this division or taking the wild card in that short best-of-5 division series, anything can happen. And while you like your chances when you start a series with Halladay and Lee, you see that they are human. Each guy gave up runs. And if you run into a couple of hot starters on the other side, you never know. They swept the Reds last year in the division series, but then they ran into the Giants and lost 4-2 in the championship series. Would you be in favor of expanding the first round to a best-of-7 to theoretically give a team with more depth in a longer series kind of benefiting the team that's better on paper?
I think, yeah, there's an argument to be made for that. Of course, you want the World Series to end before New Year's, so there would obviously have to be some maneuvering with the schedule and start the season a little bit earlier so you could start the playoffs a little bit earlier as Dominic Brown chases a slider down and in for strike 3. Yeah, I think it's you play 162 games and it is a test of your entire roster, for that matter your entire organization. You're going to have to dip down to your minor leagues to get some help from time to time, and all of a sudden you get into a short series, and if you've got 2 maybe 3 starters lined up ready to go, it doesn't really force you or the other team to use your entire roster in a 7-game series.
I think that's an issue. The fact that a couple years ago Joe Girardi could use a 3-man rotation the entire postseason. He did not have to use a 4th starter even once. I think that you should compact the series enough where you pretty much have to use at least 4 guys.
I would agree with that. I mean, and the off days too in the postseason. You mentioned the Yankees. I think they had an off day after every game in that postseason, and that's not what players are accustomed to. That's not what they're familiar with. They're used to playing every day. They're used to everybody on that roster contributing in some fashion to help a team win a ball game.
First 1, 2, 3 for a Cubs pitcher today as Ortiz keeps the Phillies off the board in the 5th. through 4 has not allowed a hit. Facing the Cubs for the first time. The Phillies have a 7-0 lead. Ryan Dempster went just 3 today. Say cheese.
Pizza.
It'll be Bird, Soto, and Soriano here against the rookie Worley.
Worley Bird, the sequel. We got the better of Marlon Bird first time around. Fly ball to left field. See who wins this battle.
Worley, as that ball is skied to left, Ibanez will make the catch. Ryan Dempster has the whole glove waggle. Worley just does it with his pitching hand inside the glove as he gets ready to work.
We've talked about it in the past. Usually when you see a pitcher do something like that, it's because somewhere along the line he was tipping his pitches. If he tried to go to his changeup grip or his breaking pitch grip, the glove would move a little bit, or his hand would move a little bit in the glove, tipping it to the hitter. So in order to avoid that, you just do it on every pitch.
Soto hit by a pitch on the hand and then was promptly doubled off first on a line out by Soriano. Slider, bottom of the zone for a strike.
Really nothing Gio could do. Well, there you go. You're looking at that wiggle of the glove, and Worley does it on every pitch regardless of what he's throwing. I was referring to that line drive off the bat of Alfonso Soriano that ended up in a double play. You know, sometimes runners get a little overly aggressive, but I don't think anybody could have gotten back to first base on that rocket. Worley not only made the play on the line drive, but got rid of it quickly over to Ryan Howard to complete the double play.
Ground ball into left, and the Cubs have their first hit. Comes with 1 out in the 5th.
A rare mistake from Vance Worley, a slider. You see they wanted it on the outside corner. He ends up catching too much plate, and Giovanni Soto made him pay. First base hit of the game for the Cubs.
I think Brian Schneider asked for time behind the plate. Lefty John Grabo is up in the Cubs bullpen. Not hit very hard as Rollins will get 1. That's it. So they force Soto. It's a fielder's choice for Soriano, and Darwin Barney will step in with 2 outs. Hey fans, check out the new Cubs Kids Club presented by ComEd, the official kids club of the Chicago Cubs. Help your favorite young Cub fan earn his or her pinstripes as a member of the Cubs Kids Club, and they'll receive kid-specific perks, experiences, and merchandise throughout the 2011 baseball season. Visit Cubs.com to sign up today. Two and 0 to Barney. Pinch hitter Jeff Baker on deck in Ortiz's spot.
Got a message from bleacher section 306. It says, "I'm melting." Really, Charlie Morris wants to say "I love you" to Tammy Fagan. Whether she's expecting that or it's a surprise.
But he loves her.
He does. And he's melting.
He loves you, yeah, 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 and he will melt for you,
yes,
too.
He will.
I don't know if he'll tumble for you. It's deflected off the glove of Howard. That's going to go 3 to 4 to 3. Utley back to Howard to get the out. Cubs strand one. They trail 7-0 at the end of 5. Downs with the Blackhawks continue tonight on Sportsnet Central. Tune in as Marian Hossa discusses the physical toll of 3 consecutive Stanley Cup runs. Plus, does he have enough in the tank for a 4th career 40-goal campaign? Tonight at 6:30 on Sportsnet Central, presented by AT&T Uverse, only on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend. There's a Wrigley Field summer sit-down right behind home plate. Ortiz will get one more inning as Vance Worley, working with a 7-0 lead, takes strike one. Former Cub, former Philly, Doug Glanville will conduct the 7th inning stretch a little bit later on. One and two. Cardinals and Mets later tonight in New York. Kyle McClellan, R.A. Dickey will match up. 3 straight Ks now for Ortiz. Hey fans, next time you want to catch a Cubs game, head to StubHub, where you'll find the seats you want and the freedom to choose where you want to sit. StubHub is the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Chicago Cubs. For more information, visit Cubs.com/StubHub. Cardinals started the day a game and a half behind Pittsburgh, but now just a game back as the Pirates lost to the Reds, who are within 4 of the division lead.
We were talking earlier about that Pittsburgh-Cincinnati series and the low scores in each one of the 3 games. I think that really speaks to the improvement of the Pirates pitching staff, because that Reds team, as we well know, they can bang the ball. Leading the National League in runs scored. A lot of pop up and down the lineup, and for the Pirates to be able to hold them down in that series the way they did Bodes well for the future for the Buccos.
Rollins to deep right. And it will go about 4 rows up for his second home run of this series. Rollins homered in his second at bat on Monday night. Does it here again today.
On a tee, middle of the plate fastball at 92. Jimmy Rollins caught it out front. Nice quick swing. Got out of here in a hurry.
Martinez grounds to Darwin Barney.
Next up, number 26, Case Utley.
Slider low to Utley. Texas at the Angels tonight. Derek Holland against Dan Herron. The Rangers have won 12 straight, outscoring their opponents 77-24 and over their last 6 games. Their pitching staff has allowed 2 earned runs combined. They've had 4 shutouts over their last 6 games. Texas right now with a 5-game lead over the Angels. Seattle hemorrhaging. They've lost 10 in a row. They're 12.5 out. Boy, you never want to lose 10 in a row, but if you're going to, don't do it when the first place team wins 12 straight.
Yeah.
Pretty much knocks you out of contention.
A lot of talk leading up to the trade deadline. Which teams are going to be buyers? Which teams are going to be sellers? I tell you, a 10-game losing streak while the team that's leading the division wins 12 in a row will pretty much make that decision for you.
Yep. Pena with a nice play on the hard hit one hopper, and he gets Chase Utley unassisted. Rollins with a home run, so they've scored in 5 of the first 6 innings. Phillies lead 8-0. Smith or Jody Davis on these special tours August 2nd, 4th, and 6th. For more information and to purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com or call 1-800-THE-CUBS. Stifling heat here in Chicago. Fans came prepared. Cubs with just one hit against Vance Worley, who works the 6th inning, facing pinch hitter Jeff Baker. As he fouls into the upper deck. Baker batting for Ramon Ortiz. We'll see John Grabo in the 7th. Couldn't get the high slider. 0-2.
Boy, not only has the heat been stifling here at Wrigley today, but the deliveries of Vance Worley have really stifled the Cubs bats. So first look at him, and I got to say I'm very impressed with this young man.
Swing and a miss for his 5th strikeout against just one walk.
A couple of high sliders in that sequence, both resulting in swings and misses from Jeff Baker.
How about Indians righty Justin Masterson last night? He shut out Minnesota at Target Field into the 8th, 7 2/3 innings. 104 pitches on the night. All but one were fastballs.
See that often anymore.
Infield pop up behind the mound as Utley, battling the sun, makes a grab.
You can see how Utley was angling his body trying to stay around that ball, keep it out of the sun, and make the play, and he was able to do that.
Shortstop number 13, Starlin Castro.
Missed outside, ball 1.
Talking about all fastballs in a game, I caught former Cub Big Daddy Rick Russell one game in Philadelphia. I'm not sure about the numbers, but I think he threw around 84 pitches in a complete game effort, all fastballs. A couple of 4-seamers up in the zone, but everything else, that 2-seam sinking fastball that he was famous for, and just kept hammering away at the strike zone. Got a lot of quick ground ball outs, an 84 pitch complete game.
Probably one of those days where he could have told you what's coming. Everybody knew it. Still didn't matter, right?
Yep.
There have been funny scenes from movies like Bull Durham and Major League where the catcher tells the hitter what's coming. Did you ever do that to a hitter to just try to mess him up?
No, I can't say as I ever did. I mean, there were times with Tony Gwynn we thought about doing it, just trying to get into his head a little bit, because we had no success trying to fool him with anything.
Tony, here comes a fastball on the throw and change. Castro, an awkward swing on strike 3. Worley cruising along through 6. 8-0.
It's all about beating the heat here at Wrigley Field this afternoon any way you can. Just trying to help the fans out with misters in the stands, passing out drinking water. And nothing looks ridiculous today. Whatever helps.
Here's southpaw John Graybo. We are going to have a pinch hitter, John Mayberry, for Ryan Howard.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, pinch hitting for Ryan Howard, number 15, John Mayberry Jr.
Graybo working from the stretch with nobody on. Fastball outside corner for strike one. Mayberry with 2 hits, including a double in the series. 0-2. Had an Andy Griffith flashback. You got Mayberry at the plate hitting for Howard. We talked about Floyd's barbershop yesterday. They scored 2 in the first, and they just kept on scoring. The only inning they haven't had a run was the 5th. Swing and a miss on a changeup.
Tied Mayberry up in knots that time.
Watch Comcast Sportsnet game replays on demand with Xfinity TV from Comcast. Don't miss the action. Call 1-800-XFINITY today. Got Darwin Barney playing second. See, the great thing about the Howard reference, you can go a couple different ways. You can go Ron Howard or Howard Sprague, the character.
We got Otis Hellman in the clubhouse. Has his own keys to the drunk tank.
Yeah, that's right.
Let yourself in and out.
One and two on the switch hitter, Shane Victorino. Kosuke coming in. 2 away. Former Cub and former Philly Doug Glanville coming up at the stretch. 2 outs here in the 7th. Raul Ibanez the batter. Slider that time caught the outside corner. Lined over Barney and into right. First hit of the series for Ibanez after starting 0 for 10. Now Brown, the right fielder.
Next up, the right fielder, Dominic Brown.
He's trying to start a 2-out rally. Now we're getting a little existential on you. Yeah. In terms of Andy Griffith references.
Like goobers.
Bounced up the middle. Barney diving, stopping. He'll have to just hold on. That's a base hit. Back-to-back 2-out singles. And here comes Brian Schneider. Pitch Tracks has been working hard in the heat and humidity today. Just needs a little bit of a break. I hope to have it back up and running here shortly. Lefty against lefty. Graybo versus Schneider. He missed on a slider outside. Ball 1.
Tell you what, Len, John Graybo's been throwing the ball a lot better recently. He had a rough outing in Pittsburgh, went an inning, gave up 2 hits, 2 walks, and 3 runs. And since then, his stuff has been a lot crisper. His command has been a lot better.
We found Opie Taylor.
Gee, Paul.
Schneider at the plate. You want to move on to one day at a time, or should we just leave it alone?
They said one of the symptoms of heat exhaustion is giddiness. I think it has arrived.
Thinly veiled sitcom references. Full count, 3-2. Runners go rather on the 3-2. Fouled off. We'll do it again. 37,864 at the ballpark. It's nearly a full house. Another 3-2 from Graybo. Bases are loaded. All this happening with 2 outs. Worley will take the at bat.
After doubling in his first at bat of the ball game, Worley has struck out on back-to-back plate appearances, mostly sliders away. He looks like he handles that bat pretty well, though. Got to be careful here with the bases loaded and 2 outs.
Graybo had little trouble getting the first 2 guys. Struck out Mayberry. Victorino flied to right, but then Ibanez and Brown with back-to-back hits. Pena will field. Graybo covering first. They leave him loaded. Here comes Doug Glanville with a stretch.
Today's guest conductor for Take Me Out to the Ball Game, former Cub Doug Glanville.
7th. Cubs with 1 hit. That was a Giovanni Soto 5th inning single. John Mayberry Jr., after pinch hitting for Ryan Howard, will stay in the game and play first. And great to have with us former Cub Doug Glanville, former Philly as well, current ESPN analyst, and always great to see you back here at Wrigley.
No, yeah, it's a great place. Obviously, Wrigley is fantastic. It's the place to watch baseball.
And it's always Doug Glanville as Harry Carey for the 7th inning stretch.
Yeah, I don't quite reach the bar there, but I tried to lower the expectation by my first pitch today, since I airmailed the catcher.
Yeah,
so
we were doing the pregame at the time, and we heard a ruckus.
Yep.
In the background.
Well, if there was a mascot for the Cubs, which there isn't, he would have been hit in the back of the head. So it's all about lowering the bar so they know that when I sing, it's going to sound better than it actually was.
There you go. Very nice. Ramirez will lead it off for the Cubs. We were talking earlier, Doug, about this Phillies team, and still a long way to go, but on paper, they're the team to beat in the entire league. But anything can happen in a short playoff series as Ramirez finds the gap out in left center. Halladay gave up 3 runs in 4 innings plus. The Heat got to him on Monday. Cliff Lee gave up 2 in the first yesterday. I mean, settled in and he was very good, but they ran into the Giants in the NLCS last fall. So anything can happen once you get to October.
Yeah, and I didn't have a lot of playoff experience up those 3 here. And I just found the teams that are set up well for the playoffs have the good rotations. They just pitch well. Because anything can happen when you flip that rotation around. And, certainly, obviously, the Phillies set up so well from this offseason in their pitching. So, that's the challenge. Nowadays, pitching is a little deeper, but it's hard to find, especially come clutch time, this time of the year particularly.
Doug, you're one of those guys that played for both of these teams over the course of your career. We know you loved your time here in Chicago. How'd you enjoy Philadelphia?
No, Philly was great. I mean, I went to college in Philly, and it was only a short 2 hours from where I grew up in Teaneck, New Jersey. So, it's important. I just had that support system. I remember my mom coming in '98, the first time I had traded to the Phillies, and all of a sudden I had paintings on the wall and flower pots, and I was like, I just used to pack everything in my trunk. Like, what is this stuff? So at the end of the year, I had to get like 2 cars worth to go home when I was used to just putting everything in a little Honda or something and going in. So it was different, but it was nice to be close to home.
Swing and a miss by Pena, 0-2. Great book you wrote called The Game from Where I Stand, and you tell a lot of stories like that about the day in the life of a Major League Baseball player.
Absolutely. I wanted to try to write something different. I know there's a lot of resume lists of like, hey, this is what I've done type books, but I wanted to get into what players really deal with and feel about it, their mindset, their challenges, the ups and downs. And so you cover everything from getting traded to the draft to just your ability to deal with relationships and dating, or bigger issues like steroids and how that changed the complexion of what was accepted as a center fielder or a shortstop. And so I think once you finish this book, you kind of get this whole arc of what a life in the game is, from soup to nuts. And there's a lot of good stories. I get into the 2003 playoffs a lot. It's gone well. I really think people see themselves in the stories because it's very, very personal.
One of the really interesting stories that you tell in the book, I mean, Bob, when I think of Doug Glanville, I think of manager's dream. Every guy he ever played for, I'm sure, loved him. Said, I don't ever have to worry about Doug Glanville. That was not the case, though. Not every manager loved you as a player, and I think that point is you're going to play for a lot of guys, and not all of them are going to think you're the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had a pretty tough time in AAA in Des Moines, particularly. Like, he just was not a fan of mine, and that happens. And you just have to learn to navigate different personalities. I mean, I look at Larry Bowa versus Terry Francona versus Jim Riggleman versus Dusty Baker. I mean, they all had their own philosophies. And sometimes, people just look at you and just say, hey, this is the guy. Other times they're like, well, I wish he did more of this or that. And, the trick in staying, to have longevity in this game is tough. That's part of the reason, because you have different personalities. And over time, it's going to change in how they value you. And just to stick it out, it says a lot of your perseverance in this game.
Inside Pena, 2-2. You also, throughout your career and now in your post-playing days, seem to have a very good idea of who you were, how good you were, what your limitations were. How many guys have that amount of self-awareness in this game? Sometimes it's not great to know your limitations. You kind of want to believe that you're better than maybe you are, right?
No, it's true. I think baseball lives off of denial. You know, you really, because, you know, there's so many parts of the game to be a major league ball player that there's always something you could say that you don't do well. You know, you don't do well on the backhand of the hole or hit the cutoff man, or you're long on sliders or whatever it is. So you learn to kind of say, okay, well, that's one person's opinion, and you put it aside. But then sometimes you're tricking yourself. And, you know, so it makes it harder to be good self-evaluators. So it took me a long time. I was always like, well, you know, you can't.
It's down the right field line, and it's going to be foul.
I remember distinctly a scout telling me in the minor leagues, okay, you hit that high fastball this game, but when you face Roger Clemens in the big leagues, you'll never get on top of that ball. But I lived my whole career on the high fastball. So you kind of realize, like, there's opinions, and you just have to cut through it. And there's so many examples of players in baseball that scrap their way through. You look at guys like, you know, Eckstein, or, you know, these guys just, like, maximize their ability, and confidence is such a big part of it.
Full count here on Pena. Ramirez led off the inning with a double. Just missed ball 4. Well, Bob can tell you, having managed a couple of Hall of Fame caliber starting pitchers, sometimes that confidence wanes a little bit, even the best in the game. And you've got to, as a manager, Bob, kind of pump these guys up.
Remind them how good they really are. Yeah, because self-doubt is a terrible thing in this game. When you start to ask, can I still catch up to a fastball as a hitter? You know, can I still do the things I need to do on the field to stay here at the major league level? And as soon as you start doubting yourself, bad things start to happen.
No doubt, and I think that actually was a big part of the whole steroid question. You know, they think, you know, there's a lot of focus on the greed and the money and the record breaking, but also guys are doubt. They have a lot of doubt, and they're scared of what they are without it.
Bird with a base hit, and the bases are loaded. 3 on with nobody out, and that'll likely get some action up in the Phillies bullpen.
You know, so you realize there's a lot of guys that, you know, obviously wanted to perform well, but they're getting older, and you start seeing the pink slip coming, and you know, guys who have put, especially when you put all your eggs in this one basket, there's, you know, desperate measures, you know, get taken place, and that certainly doesn't justify that time period in baseball, but you do understand as a player a little bit more about what happens when the insecurity takes over you, and you're watching that rookie come up and about to take your job, like Willie Wilson and Tuffy Rhodes, for example. One year we had to separate these guys in spring training because it's like, you know, Wilson was so upset that Rhodes was about to take his job. It's really tough.
Rich Doobie will head out to the mound. Well, Marlon Byrd was a young teammate of yours toward the latter part of your career.
No, and I look at this field and I see, you know, how the torch was passed. You know, Sean Dunston taught me a lot, and then I went on and told Jimmy Rollins about it and Marlon Byrd. And then eventually you're realizing you're training your replacement. You know, Marlon Byrd became the center fielder in Philadelphia, and that was the end of the Glanville era to some degree. So I realized that is part of it. You have a cycle in your life, and to not see that as a threat and not overreact to it is difficult. So, you know, Byrd came in and did a nice job, and, you know, he's doing a fantastic job here in Chicago. But I'm proud of Marlon and Jimmy. But I see a lot of guys in this field that at one point they were invisible to us, and then all of a sudden they're competing with you.
And Marlon Byrd in spring training was working with the young Brett Jackson, who at some point probably will replace Marlon in center here in Chicago. He recognized that.
Who was that guy for you, Doug? Was there a veteran player when you first started playing professional baseball that kind of took you under their wing and, you know, maybe told you some of the pitfalls and speed bumps to avoid?
Oh, yeah. Dunston is definitely one of them. Sean Dunston. Chuck McElroy was great. You know, Mac was, you know, he let me stay in his apartment in spring training for free, and he really talked to me a lot about the social side of it. I mean, Dunston was a genius in terms of that. He mentored well, but he told you a lot about off the field stuff. Be careful of this, be careful of that. And I learned a lot by watching him play, just the way he hustled.
Outside, it's 2-1. By far the best chance for the Cubs today. There's Ryan Madson, recently off the disabled list. Bases loaded, nobody out. They do trail 8-0 here in the 7th. Ground ball, Martinez boots it. They get the out at second. It'll be an RBI for Soto. One away in the inning. It's now 8-1.
An unfortunate carom that time for the Cubs, and Giovanni Soto, hard hit ball just tipped off the glove of Michael Martinez down there at third base. And the guy we were just talking about a moment ago, Jimmy Rollins, with the presence of mind to realize who's running at first base. He thought he still had time to get the force play and was able to get off a quick throw to force Marlon Byrd at second base. But Giovanni Soto will be credited with an RBI fielder's choice.
First and third, one out. And Soriano swings and misses. How did you stay cool on a day like this on the turf at the old vet?
Oh, forget about it. Well, there was a Cubs game. I think Mark Clark way back in the day pitched, and I'm telling you, it was 168 degrees on the thermostat in the dugout. It was absurd.
Could be two, and it is 6-4-3. Well, go grab some AC. Always a pleasure to have you back here at Wrigley Field.
Okay.
Enjoy your work.
Okay, guys. Thanks so much.
Good seeing you, Doug.
Saturday, August 6th here at Wrigley Field. Don't forget to bring healthy, non-perishable food items with you to the ballpark. Fans who make a donation of 10 eligible items or $20 will get a Cubs autographed photo. Limit 2 per person while supplies last. All proceeds benefit Lakeview Pantry. For more information, call 773-404-CUBS or visit Cubs.com. Thanks to Doug Glanville for joining us. Always interesting interview.
He has a rare insight and ability to talk about baseball other than just the numbers, just running around sliding in the dirt. Very intellectual former ball player.
Anyone out there, and we've run into many fans who ask us what's it like to travel with a major league team. What do you do on the road? How do you get there? What happens when players get traded? All that insight is in this book, The Game from Where I Stand. So check it out. Grabo misses to Jimmy Rollins. Ball 1. Rollins with a home run in the 6th. He doubled homer run back in the 2nd.
We've talked so much in this series about the Phillies and their dominating starting pitching, and we've touched on their defense, but that last inning was a perfect example. It wasn't even a great play by Martinez at third base, but he had enough range to knock that hard ground ball down. Jimmy Rollins was Johnny on the spot to make the play to get the force out at second base, and then they quickly turned a double play to end the inning. It's always great to have a good pitching staff, but occasionally it doesn't do you much good if the guys can't catch it.
Jimmy Rollins has hit a home run from each side of the plate today. Left-handed off Ortiz in the 6th. Right-handed against Graybo here in the 8th.
Two homers, a double. Has scored 4 runs in the ball game, and it all started with a strikeout in his first at bat of the game.
There's 2-homer game for Rollins. That fan took a spill in almost 2 years.
It's funny, we just had Doug Glanville here in the booth, and we were asking him about playing for different managers, and you assumed everybody loved Doug Glanville and wanted him on their team, but that wasn't necessarily the case. Ball skied in the air to the left side. Should be a play for Ramirez coming down the line in foul territory. He'll get there. There was a time very early in his career where Jimmy Rollins and his manager Larry Boa just could not seem to get on the same page. Larry Boa, a very demanding old school manager, and I think he felt there were some things missing from Jimmy Rollins' game in order to improve as a big league player. Yeah, certainly he improved on those things and has continued to get better and better with each passing year, but that's just a perfect example of a budding superstar that just wasn't quite the guy that his manager was looking for at that particular time.
Wilson Valdez will bat for Chase Utley. Valdez, you can find him on the hitting stats and the pitching stats for the Phils as well. He has a win in relief on the mound. We talked about it when we were in Philadelphia in June. He pitched because Charlie Manuel basically had no other choice. Got the win against the Reds on May 25th in extras. First position player to get a win since the Rockies' Brent Mayne in 2000. Scoreless inning. He did hit a batter. He was the first major league position player to start a game and be the winning pitcher since Babe Ruth did it in 1921. Two and two.
You know, that's something you see a lot more often than you would realize in the college game. A lot of times your closer is your right fielder. USC a few years ago had a catcher by the name of Robert Stock who came out from behind the plate to close games for the Trojans, but you rarely see anything like that in the big leagues.
The change up from Graybo to get Valdez.
Talked about Graybo, how he's been sharper lately. That's been a big pitch for him. The ability to throw that changeup at the bottom of the strike zone over the plate. Get those swings and misses. Get those defensive swings that put the ball into play weakly. He had a stretch of about 8 or 10 games where he just could not get that changeup down at the bottom of the strike zone. Left a lot of them up and away to right-handed hitters, but apparently has made a mechanical adjustment, and his stuff is much better recently.
Hard hit bouncer to Ramirez. Slings across for the out. Rollins led off the inning with his second homer today, and it's 9-1 Phillies. Phillies will use Valdez, who pinch hit. And Utley's spot. He'll play second. Vance Worley's still in there. He got out of a major jam in the 7th inning when the Cubs loaded the bases with nobody out and would only get 1 run. We haven't seen Worley. I hadn't seen him pitch before today, but this might go down as his most impressive major league outing considering the conditions today. Not only the heat, but the wind blowing straight out. By the way, the 2-homer game for Jimmy Rollins, it's the 2nd time in his career he has homered from both sides of the plate. He's had many 2-homer games, but those were from the same side. On August 12th of 06 against the Reds, he hit 1 righty and 1 lefty. Charlie Manuel giving Worley a chance for the longest outing of his career. He's gone 7 innings twice previously this season. Barney pulls it into the left field corner.
It'll be interesting to watch next week when Vance Worley makes his next start to see if there's any adverse effect of pitching so deeply into the ball game on a stifling day here at Wrigley Field.
We'll have 1 extra day with the off day tomorrow. The Daily Double Burger is back for a limited time at participating McDonald's for $1.89. Pinch hitter Blake DeWitt.
Sorry, Len. With that extra day of rest, I believe he'll pitch against the Giants next time around. So, pretty good chance he'll be hooked up with another good pitcher.
DeWitt pops it up, and Martinez will make the catch for the first out.
As we've said throughout the afternoon, this is my first look at Vance Worley, but to use that old saying, the rich get richer. Talk all you want about Holiday and Lee, and we haven't even mentioned Cole Hamels since he didn't pitch in this series, but he's an 11-game winner, probably the best number 3 starter in the game. And you've got Oswalt and Blanton due to come back off the disabled list at some point. Not only do they have a strong top of the rotation, they may have the best bottom of the rotation in baseball.
Kyle Kendrick, we should mention, has made 8 starts, a 3.34 ERA. They've got a 7-man rotation, basically. And how about the idea of Worley being around the Hallidays and Lees and Oswalts and guys like that? Fukudome taps out to Mayberry.
Just like we were talking about with Doug Glanville, you learn from those who are ahead of you. And Vance Worley is a smart guy. He's got his ears and eyes wide open, watching those guys at the top of the rotation go about their business.
It's Kerry Wood who will get the 9th. Imagine Vance Worley attaches himself to that guy, Roy Halladay, much as he can. Runner at third, 2 down. Here's Castro, 1-1. Slider outside, 3-1. Willie's just gone over 100 pitches on the day as Ramirez gets ready on deck. Caught the edge, 3-2. Worley didn't give up a hit until the 5th. Cubs have 4 since, including the leadoff double here in the 8th. I don't think these are unimportant at bats for a 21-year-old second-year player like Starlin Castro. These are the kinds of at bats where you got to tell yourself, I got to treat it like it's a 2-2 game in the 8th inning. Even though it's 9-1, you never want to give up an at bat. He's battling him hard.
And not to mention the fact that Starlin Castro is probably going to be facing Vance Worley for the next 10 or 12 or 15 years. So the more information he can gather on a given start, the better off he should be in the future when he faces this right-hander again.
Of a full season, a guy like Castro is going to get up to the plate upwards of 650 to 700 times. And you think about all the 21-year-old kids in the minor leagues who would kill to have just one at bat at this level. Worley wins that battle, and they strand a man at third to the 9th. 9-1 Phillies. In the Bud Light bleachers this season, including free t-shirt Mondays, $3 12-ounce draft Bud and Bud Light Tuesday nights, and $1 Vienna beef hot dog Wednesdays. Tuesday night special also available in select locations in the seating bowl. And for more information and to purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com. Veteran right-hander Kerry Wood working the 9th inning. He took the loss on Sunday against the Marlins, but remember that blown call at second base. It continued the inning. Victorino pops out.
It just doesn't appear that Woody is as sharp as he will be coming back from that blister.
Number 29, Raul.
Started the season first 13 games, his ERA was 1.38, but over his last 19, it's been 5.19.
Curve is 76. We go on to the 10th in Houston. 2-2. Nationals and Astros. Ibanez pops it up. Castro will get this one. Just to follow up on Castro at bat in a 9-1 game. Talked to a lot of people who watch this team every day. People in uniform in the Cubs dugout. So you got to remember he's 21. And the same goes for Darwin Barney. He's a little older than Castro, but with less big league experience. These are young players who will make mistakes. You hope only once. They'll learn from them, and I think by and large they have. That's what you get with young and rookie players. The upside has far outweighed all the rest with those two guys.
No doubt about it.
It's been a breath of fresh air during a very difficult 2011 season. In fact, Bob, I would go as far as to say they're the most fun thing about this team is watching these guys, and I think you alluded to it a couple of months into the season, watching them take their at-bats in big spots. Brown draws the walk. The double play they turned the other night, Mike Quaddy said it after the game, it was the best double play the Cubs have turned all year. And we hope to see more of that in the days to come. One ball, one strike to Brian Schneider. Backhanded by Pena. He'll take it to the bag. As the Phillies strand one, we'll go to the bottom of the ninth. 9-1 for the visitors. Jeff and Holly will break down the game and preview the Cubs' next matchup. Don't miss Coors Light Cubs postgame live immediately following the game right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend. Ryan Madson, the Phillies closer, not closing at the moment because he just came off the disabled list. He's made 2 appearances since, both in the Mets series over the weekend, inning and 2/3 combined 1 run. He had a bruised left hand. He has gone 15 out of 16 in saved chances. Obviously, this is not a save opportunity, but because of injuries in the back end of their bullpen, the Phillies have used 3 different closers: Bastardo, Madson, and Contreras. They've combined to go 27 for 28. Pretty impressive. 1 strike on Aramis Ramirez.
Madson was on the DL with a bruised left hand.
Bruised left hand, yeah.
Something that every catcher in the major leagues plays with every day.
Ramirez gets under it. Actually, no, I guess it was right. I said left.
Okay,
it was
okay.
right.
All right. Never mind.
First baseman, number 22, Carlos Pena.
So it was the pitching hand,
okay,
not the glove hand.
Well, that's a whole different story then.
Here's Pena with 1 out. I guess technically it was a contusion, which is a bruise.
Sounds a lot more serious, though.
He was contused.
And Ryan Madson a little bit in the mold of Trevor Hoffman in that his go-to pitch when he gets in trouble is that straight changeup. That's a good fastball in the low 90s, but a really good straight change.
Big home run swing by Pena. He missed it. 0-2 on the Cubs' first baseman. Lazy fly ball, Ibanez for the second out.
I'll tell you one thing, Len, when we got to the ballpark today and saw the conditions and saw the way the wind was blowing, if you'd have told me there were only going to be 2 home runs hit in this game and they were going to be by the smallest player on the field, I'd had to call you a liar. Well, this looked like one of those days that was set up for an 18-17 game, but Worley was tremendous.
You would have said liar, liar, pants on fire, which literally might have been the case.
Yeah.
1 strike to Marlon Byrd. Vance Worley, a career high 8 innings and just 1 run today. Pops it up. Valdez at second base makes the grab, and that's it. Phillies take 2 of 3. They've won 8 consecutive series. The Cubs, meanwhile, have dropped 5 of the first 7 to start the second half. So the final today, the Phillies 9, the Cubs 1. And our GMC player of the game with an honorable mention to Jimmy Rollins. It's the starter and winner for the Phillies, Vance Worley.
Well, anybody that goes 8 innings on the mound on a day like this deserves to be the player of the game. Vance Worley was fantastic today. Had great command of all of his pitches. Pitched aggressively. Cubs were very aggressive against him, allowing him to work deep into the ball game.
The producer of Cubs baseball here on CSN, Bob Albrecht. Our director, Dave Turner. Our associate producer, Tamara Anderson. Our stage manager in the booth, Christine Charbonneau. Our technical director, Jill Vinci. Mark Harper is our tech manager. The senior executive producer, Jim Corno Jr. Great work by our entire crew, especially those outside in the elements today. And that's going to wrap up our game coverage. But we have more to come. Coors Light post-game live is right around the corner. Once again, the final score, the Phillies 9 and the Cubs 1. We're back with you Friday afternoon, 12:30 for pregame live. Bob and I will hit the air at 1 as the Houston Astros return to Wrigley Field. In-game scoring provided by ScorePad. And now for Bob, for Luke Stuckmeyer, and our entire crew. I'm Casper.